Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 300 is essentially a Bill of Rights for educators, safeguarding their due process. It helps make certain that professional school personnel will be treated fairly, professionally, and in a timely manner when they have a complaint filed against them with the Education Professional Standards Board, EPSB. Mr. Speaker, House Bill 300 is titled an act that supports the profession of education. Because it's not only about teachers, it's about all of the K-12 education professionals. The contents of House Bill 300 will guide in statute the EPSB, which issues, renews, suspends, and revokes Kentucky certificates for professional school personnel. Some background, Mr. Speaker. A constituent who is also a teacher shared his experiences with the EPSB staff with me. I too have an EPSB certificate in teaching and in instructional leadership, and I got involved. Mr. Speaker, this teacher's experience prompted a review of the statute and regulations, which then initiated a series of meetings and discussions with parents and teachers, the EPSB staff, the Kentucky Department of Education, various superintendents, the Kentucky Education Association, the Kentucky Association of School Superintendents, and the leadership of the Northern Kentucky Education Council. Mr. Speaker, there was a common theme in most of these discussions, regardless of who you were or how you were involved in the process, and that common theme is this: it takes an indefinitely long period for educators to have complaints against them investigated and completed. As a result, Mr. Speaker, educators languish, they question their career choice, they worry about their livelihood, and they live with distressing anxiety and uncertainty. For decades, educators have cited how they are not treated like professionals. Today, Mr. Speaker, we can help change that. Regarding the content of House Bill 300, to start, please note that it provides language about the deferral of certain investigations in cases involving a criminal investigation or the allegations of child abuse, dependency, or neglect. Some of House Bill 300's technical provisions. It introduces timelines for when specific steps in the disciplinary process must be concluded. It requires notifications to the certificate holder and superintendent as things move through the process. It requires the EPSB staff to meet in person or virtually with the educator in question prior to any recommendation being made by the EPSB staff to the board unless the educator declines. It establishes a specific timeline for a hearing for an admonishment and allows the educator to request an expedited hearing. It requires hearing officers to be provided by the Attorney General's office. It allows for appeals to be filed in Franklin Circuit Court or the Circuit Court of the county where the certificate holder was employed at the time of the incident. It requires that the hearing provide all the due process rights afforded under KRS Chapter 13B. The House Committee Sub removes the retroactive clause to the pending complaints filed with the EPSB and removes declaring it an emergency. Lastly, House Bill 300 also addresses possible educator recruitment issues, but more so, retention issues. As I stated earlier, Mr. Speaker, House Bill 300 is about due process for educators. It makes certain that professional school personnel receive due process and will be treated fairly and professionally by the EPSB staff.